Today I want to share with you one economist's prediction for 2021 and talk about what we probably will be seeing here in the Boise housing market in the coming year. First, let's see what happened in 2020. In the first quarter of the year, the US economy contracted greatly because of the pandemic created by the coronavirus. Unemployment shot up to 14.7% in March and April. Now that's a huge increase in the unemployment rate. The national average usually sits at about 3.5%. What was surprising though is that the US economy didn't stay in the gutter for very long. By May and June, we already were adding lots of jobs to the economy. By the end of November, the US unemployment rate was down to 6.7%. At the end of 2019, about 6% of the US workforce was working from home. But in May of last year, that number shot up to 35%. It gradually tapered down as the US economy began to open back up. But by September, that number still was sitting at about 23%, 4 times the pre-pandemic level. Now that number will probably go down over the coming years, but according to Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist for the National Association for Realtors, he's predicting that in 2022, still about 12% of the population will be working from home. So looking forward into 2021 and 2022, I think that means that we're going to see more demand for homes that have extra bedrooms, extra offices, and mother-in-law units. But probably the biggest surprise for economists in 2020 was how well the housing market performed throughout the year. Even though people were out of work and were dealing with a nationwide pandemic, house prices continued to rise and the volume of homes sold in 2020 exceeded that of 2019. At the beginning of the year, the median price for single-family homes in the United States was $384,000. By September of 2020, that number had increased by $19,000. So that raises the question, how is it that house prices continued to rise and the volume of homes increased throughout 2020 when we were dealing with a global pandemic? Two factors contributed to that. Number one, there was an increase in prices for lumber. The pandemic disrupted the lumber industry, and in some cases, supplies dropped by 79%. This alone added an average of $15,800 to the median price of homes in the United States. The second factor contributing to the increase in prices over the past year is the overall shortage of supply that we saw throughout the United States. Right now, the month's supply of available homes across the United States is at an all-time low. Nationally, that average is at about 2 months right now. But in Boise, the situation is even worse. Right now, depending on the price point, we have anywhere between 10 days to 1.5 months worth of inventory on the market right now. Incredibly though, in spite of the rising house prices and the high unemployment rate, the volume of homes sold throughout the year increased this year compared to last year. In Ada County, for example, we sold more homes in 2020 than any other year since 2005. And as compared to 2019, there was a 5% increase in the volume of homes sold in 2020. Right now, the median price for homes in the Boise area is about $435,000, which is a 24% increase from last year. So why has the housing market performed so well in the midst of a global pandemic?
I'm glad you asked.
Well, according to Lawrence Yun, probably the biggest factor that has contributed to this is the incredibly low interest rates that we've seen over the past year. The average 30-year fixed rate mortgage in the US in 2020 was 3.11%. That's the lowest average we've ever seen. Ever. Did I say ever? In November, the average was 2.77%. So those low interest rates contributed to the high volume of sales that we saw throughout the year. Hey, what's up? It's Ben here with Triple Cord Real Estate. On this channel, I talk about the Boise housing market and all kinds of other things related to living in the Treasure Valley. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that little red button now. Well, what's going to happen in 2021? Well, Lawrence Yun is predicting that the housing market will rise by about 10% across the United States over the next year. According to his estimation, the mortgage rate will probably remain at or near the historic low of 3%, and he believes that we will continue to add jobs to the US economy throughout 2021. He thinks the unemployment rate will probably be at about 5.5% by the end of next year. So with people going back to work and the mortgage rates continuing to remain at historic lows, what is that going to do for the housing industry over the next year? We're probably going to continue to see prices rise. But there might be a piece of good news here. Mr. Yoon is predicting that the increase in housing prices will slow down over the next year. From 2019 to 2020, the median price for homes rose by 7.8%. His forecast for 2021, though, is that the prices will rise by only 4.5%. So if he's right, that's good news for us. We'll continue to see an increase in house prices, but the rate of increase will slow down over the next year. And what about our new president's policies? How will they affect the housing market? Joe Biden has proposed to offer a $15,000 tax incentive for first-time home buyers. Basically, that'll be a tax credit that is available to first-time home buyers at the closing table. Now that actually could benefit buyers since it'll make it easier for them to buy homes. The problem with that though is that it doesn't address the root problem that we have right now. And that is that we're experiencing a national shortage of homes across the United States. So if you just throw money at people and don't address the shortage that we have in inventory, that's just going to continue to push up the prices. Biden has also proposed removing the 1031 exchange tax code. Now let's hope that that's one of those promises that he doesn't fulfill, because if he does that, investors will just hold on to their homes even longer, and that will just worsen the inventory problem that we have. Yoon also thinks that Biden will appoint federal governors who will be more tolerant of higher inflation. And in his estimation, that's going to continue to drive up prices as well. I will for sure keep you updated on Biden's new policies and how they affect the housing market here. And the best way to keep current is to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos that I publish. Now, all of this will affect the Boise housing market over the next year. The Boise housing market is once again predicted to be in the top 10 best performing markets in the United States. A lot of people are moving here, but the inventory is incredibly low. In December of 2020, there was a 79.6 decrease in the number of homes available as compared to last year. So, looking into 2021, we're going to continue to see prices rise over the next year. If Yoon is correct though, we may see a slower price increase in 2021 than we saw last year. If you'd like to see what properties are available in the Boise metro area, click on the link in the description box below. It's a link to my website. You throw in your name, your number, and your email address, and we'll get you an account on the Boise MLS so that you can search all of the properties that are for sale in the Treasure Valley.